what we're hearing with just 6 hours to go until the MLB trade deadline. Here's The Athletic's latest reporting on the MLB trade deadline based on team and league sources, who were granted anonymity to speak candidly about ongoing deliberations. Rivals think Mariners could be latest to deal a controllable starter. Is George Kirby the next controllable starting pitcher to get traded Monday? Advertisement executives who have spoken with the Mariners say they have been actively listening over the weekend on both Kirby, who has 2+ years of control, and Emerson Hancock, who has 4+ years of control. An executive of one club engaged in these talks told The Athletic that the Angels' trade of Jose Soriano to Toronto, so early on deadline day morning, opens a clear window for Seattle, with either Kirby or Hancock now looming as the best available starters with multiple years of control.
Then I found Lulu Talks tea and everything shifted. Once I started drinking it, my mornings were ruined in the sense that they'd never be the same again. I began waking up feeling rested and energized, something I hadn't experienced in years. My new routine? Just 1 cup of Lulu Talks in the morning. On top of that, my menopause symptoms have eased significantly. I finally feel like myself again, strong, confident, and like a woman who's ready to take on the day.
Curious what makes it different? Scan the QR code now or visit grabdeal.us/8.
Also of interest, according to teams that have starters to move, is the number of contenders with excellent rotations who are still shopping for starting pitching. Among those teams, the Yankees, Phillies, Red Sox, Brewers, and Guardians. And as the Blue Jays deal for Soriano indicated, it isn't only contenders who view the deadline as a shopping opportunity when controllable starters are on the market. Rival clubs still believe Hancock is more likely to get traded than Kirby, judging by the huge price tag the Mariners have placed on Kirby. But the consensus is that it would be a surprise if Seattle doesn't trade at least one of them before the deadline arrives. Stark Antonio Senzatela too. Rockies showing signs of upcoming moves, the Colorado Rockies are expected to make at least 2 trades before the deadline, and right-handed reliever Antonio Senzatela is almost certain to move, according to people briefed on the team's discussions. Senzatela, pitching solely as a reliever for the first time this season, has been in heavy demand, even from teams already stocked with relievers. His fastball averages 97 mph, putting him in the top 13 percentile of the league. And as with many Rockies pitchers, his performance is much better on the road than it is at hitter-friendly Coors Field. Brenton Doyle, a right-handed hitting center fielder, is another Rockies player who could be traded. He has declined markedly as a hitter since his breakout in 2024, but teams in the past have valued his defense in center field. Rosenthal Advertisement Rangers selling Mackenzie Gore could be flipped for a starter with more control the Rangers' sale is on, and virtually everyone on their roster is in play, according to people who were granted anonymity to discuss the team's deliberations. That doesn't mean the Rangers will make multiple trades before the 6 p.m. But if they do something bigger, their target will be obvious. Rangers president of baseball operations, Chris Young, spent 13 seasons as a major league starter. He acquired left-hander Mackenzie Gore from the Washington Nationals last offseason when starting pitching wasn't an obvious need for Texas. And with Gore eligible for free agency after next season, it's not inconceivable Young would flip him for a starter under longer control. As one Rangers person put it, CY loves pitching, and he's always looking for more. Rosenthal Mets will move plenty of names left on New York's sell list: right-hander Freddie Peralta, righty reliever Huascar Brazoban, and lefty reliever AJ still on the for-sale rack. Right-hander Clay Holmes, relievers Luke Weaver and Brooks Raley, outfielders Lewis Robert Jr. and Tyrone Taylor, and maybe more. Rosenthal Angels' intriguing decision: how much leeway has Art Morneau given John Mozeliak have? Interim general manager John Mozeliak could be among the busiest execs in the final hours. Zach Neto, starting pitchers Jose Soriano and Reed Detmers, and outfielder Joe Adell are all in play. How far does Mozeliak want to strip the team down? How far will owner Art Morneau let him go? Answers coming soon. Rosenthal Red Sox priority Boston clearly focused on adding a shortstop could be the Washington Nationals' C.J. Abrams. Could be the Los Angels Zach Neto. Probably won't be the Miami Marlins' Otto Lopez. But as one exec, who spoke on the condition of anonymity so they could speak candidly about the Red Sox, said in a text, "That's all I hear, Boston SS." Rosenthal Advertisement Marlins plans Miami open to dealing from their bullpen, with the reliever market set to pick up on Monday. The Miami Marlins are open to dealing from their bullpen, according to league sources briefed on their talks. That does not necessarily mean Miami ends up moving closer Pete Fairbanks, a free agent after the season. The Marlins, 58-55, may keep Fairbanks since they are just 1-1-2 game out of the wild card. The Marlins could, however, deal others from their bullpen. Miami has some depth, and even if they trade a couple of their middle relievers, club officials likely feel good about replacing them internally with options from Triple-A. They have demonstrated an ability to find and develop arms. As the Marlins field interest on catcher-designated hitter Liam Hicks, outfielder Kyle Stowers, and others, another name to watch is pitcher Braxton Garrett, a classic change-of-scenery candidate. In 16 games at Triple-A, Garrett, 28, has a 2.9 ERA. But he has made just 2 starts for the Marlins, allowing a total of 7 runs in 4-1-3 innings. Sam and C.J. Abrams update Nationals still signaling that shortstop will stick around past deadline. The Washington Nationals haven't spent much time internally discussing offers for C.J. Abrams, according to a person familiar with their thinking who was granted anonymity to freely discuss the club's ongoing plans, further corroborating league-wide sentiment that Abrams is unlikely to be moved at this year's deadline. The Nats could still take this down to the wire, but it would be very surprising if the Nationals moved their all-star shortstop, according to the same person familiar with their thinking. Several others around MLB also said, either because they were told explicitly or based on sentiment surrounding Washington's high bar for a possible trade, that Abrams was unlikely to be moved at the deadline. 2 on the Athletic's top 50 trade candidates and just 1 NL Player of the Month in July was thought of as a possible candidate to move this deadline, though some around MLB cast doubt on the premise as far back as this spring. Nussbaum,